You may recall in my last singing video that I was not quite sure of the tune of I Will Sing of My Redeemer. So, the tune that came to mind was the one that comes right next door to it in this particular hymn book I'm using. I Will Sing the Wondrous Story. So I sang it to that tune. Because I couldn't quite pick out the notes of the song here in the page that's suggested. Okay, see on this page, once again, I'm sorry I'm dealing with a lot of things to hold with a camera in one hand. And, if I was smart, I'd probably put the camera on a tripod and just deal with all the books and stuff. So, but nonetheless, I'm not. Okay, so see, Crusader hymns number 93. So that's the one I'm on here, hymn number 93. But I found out what the deal was and why I didn't recognize the tune. Note the music is written by this one, Roland H. Pritchard. Well, I wonder why they used that tune in their hymn book. Because when you read the story of Philip Bliss, who wrote the words, they give recognition to McGranahan, James McGranahan, to undertake a similar task in gospel work. And I'll read you the story. And just so it will be known, the tune by James McGranahan is the one that I vaguely recalled, and it does sound an awful lot of I will sing whatever that other song was I sang here's the tune of. Anyway, so here's the story of it. And then, Lord willing, I'll just say this too, I will also try to learn the tune of the other hymn that is posted here in the book. And one of the reasons why I'm going to do that is because I've run out of songs for this book. I've gone through like 3 or 4 books here to tell the hymn stories out of, and I don't have any others. I don't have any other hymn story books. So I'm throwing this out there also, just in case anybody that might be so kind as to suggest a hymn story book that I can use. Does anybody know of any hymn stories book that I can buy on eBay or something? That's where I've gotten these. But I will, Lord willing, as I say, learn the Roland H. Pritchard tune and sing that one also, just so I can stretch this out a little longer. And like I'm doing now, I'm stretching this video out way longer. But here we go. I Will Sing of My Redeemer. 90 years of worldwide popularity have established the gospel song I Will Sing of My Redeemer as part of our musical heritage. It's actually been over 130 years now, because this book was written in the 1960s. Less well known, however, is the miraculous legend of how it was preserved for the future. The composition was found in a piece of baggage rescued from a fiery train wreck on the day of December 20th, 1876. The poem's author, 38-year-old Philip P. Bliss, had been traveling with his wife to Chicago to fulfill an engagement at D.L. Moody's Tabernacle near Ashtabula, Ohio. Well, that is, he was to fulfill an engagement at D.L. Moody's Tabernacle. Then, near Ashtabula, Ohio, a bridge collapsed, and the train plunged into an icy riverbed. It is said that Bliss survived the fall and climbed out through a coach window only to return looking for his wife. Reunited, they died together in the flaming wreckage. Now, I hate to throw... I don't know, I hate to be a party pooper, but I just wonder, how did they know they reunited together? Who reported that? Alright, I mean, it's a nice thought, but I don't guess anybody got out and said they saw that, but nonetheless, it's a nice story. He did go back in, apparently, for his wife. I don't know how anybody knows that either, but I guess there were some eyewitnesses that saw him go back in and figured that must have been the only reason. These circumstances, to all appearances, cut a brilliant career short, very suddenly. It had only been 2 years that Bliss had served as soloist and song leader in the evangelistic campaigns of Major D.W. Whittle. All his life, it would seem, had been leading up toward this ministry of working with D.L. Moody. Born in a log cabin, young Philip had left home at the age of 11 to work on farms and in lumber camps. He had become a Christian at the age of 12 and soon afterward developed interest in the field of music, or in the study of music. In the early 19th century, popular music training in America was centered in singing schools, schools which were characterized by a strong spiritual emphasis, and which also provided social activity for the small towns and rural communities. The singing school was strictly a one-man operation. A musician of some degree of ability traveled from place to place, organizing classes, teaching them, and collecting his fees, which might be paid either in cash or in farm produce. Most of the classes in sight reading and in conducting were held at night in the country schoolhouses, churches, or town halls. The students sang the syllables do, re, mi while seated on planks placed between two chairs. Each music student also beat time for himself by moving his hand and arm in a prescribed pattern. Many of our early gospel musicians started out as singing school teachers. This tradition lasted more than 100 years and had a profound effect on the quality of congregational singing and the development of church choirs. Philip P. Bliss found himself strongly attracted to singing school life. At the age of 21, he was married, and a year later began a career as an itinerant music teacher. Using a little $20 folding organ hauled from place to place by his faithful horse Fanny, he taught music during the winter seasons. During the summer, he followed his own musical education and became a student himself at the Normal Academy of Music at Geneseo, New York. Songwriting came naturally to Bliss. He composed equally well in both words and music. Even during his short lifetime, he was recognized as a leading writer of simple sacred songs, many of which are still widely used today. The New Baptist Hymnal, published in 1956, includes 12 hymns for which Bliss wrote either the words or the music or both. Our small volume Crusader Hymns has 7 of his compositions. Although Bliss's ministry was very brief, his influence has continued down through the years. It was D.L. Moody who challenged him to leave teaching and to give his time to evangelistic crusades. In turn, Bliss urged his close friend and fellow musician James McGranahan to undertake a similar task in gospel work. It was McGranahan who took Bliss's place in that faithful weekend meeting at the Moody Tabernacle in Chicago when Bliss died en route. At a later date, McGranahan joined the evangelistic party of D.W. Whittle. So it's interesting. Just to explain, from best I can understand here, P.P. Bliss started with D.W. Whittle and went to work with Moody. And then McGranahan took Bliss's place working with Moody, but then ended up working with D.W. Whittle, the first man that P.P. Bliss had worked with. We teen musicians have been greatly inspired by the lives and contributions of these early evangelistic song leaders, and today, almost a century later, God still uses their simple songs and hymns to touch men's hearts and to challenge many to decide for Christ. God may not give each of us a great talent to use for Him. We may not have many years of service, but what we have in talent and in time is enough for God to bless and to use in accomplishing His purposes. This song of Philip Bliss is a very simple expression of the truth of the gospel, so obvious that it does not require elaboration. In fact, the title itself might be considered the motto of his short and brilliant life. I will sing of my Redeemer. Now, the words by Philip P. Bliss and the tune by James McGranahan. I will sing of my Redeemer. Wait a minute, I'm singing the wrong one. No, I was singing the right one, wasn't I? Okay, I'm sorry. I was singing the wondrous story, but I guess I got the right one. I will sing of my Redeemer and his wondrous love to me. On the cruel cross he suffered from the curse to set me free. Sing, oh sing of my Redeemer, with his blood he purchased me. Wait a minute, I'm not singing the right words. Isn't it one? Purchased me. Yes, I am. I'm singing the right words. Boy, I told you I can't read music. Sing, oh sing of my Redeemer, with his blood he purchased me. On the cross he sealed my pardon, paid the debt and made me free. I will tell the wondrous story, how my lost estate to save. In his boundless love and mercy, he the ransom freely gave. Sing, oh sing of my Redeemer, with his blood he purchased me. On the cross he sealed my pardon, paid the debt and made me free. I will praise my dear Redeemer, his triumphant power I'll tell, how the victory he giveth over sin and death and hell. I will sing of my Redeemer and his heavenly love to me. He from death to life hath brought me, Son of God, to him, with him to be. Sing, oh sing of my Redeemer, with his blood he purchased me. On the cross he sealed my pardon, paid the debt and made me free.